WEIU TV and radio. Today we were scheduled to talk to Mike Irwin, owner of the Coles County Dragway USA. I hope he's just running late. If not, we'll try to get him back on. But instead, we just impromptu, which Rameen loves, by the way, the guy who produces the show. We're going to talk to Professor Joe Astrouski. Welcome, Joe.
Howdy.
And Brayden Armstrong.
Hi.
Host of EIU School Talk. Scoot that mic towards you a little bit, my man.
Right.
Okay. And scoot over a little bit for the old television side of things. So welcome to live radio and TV as it is. All right. Well, Joe, you have something going on this week. Talk about what's going on here on campus.
Yeah, this is kind of a cool thing that we've been doing for decades at this point. We offer, through School Communication and Journalism, a free week-long high school journalism camp. And so we get students from around the state of Illinois who come and take lessons from some of our faculty here and then go out and do field reporting trips during the week. So right now our students are over in Morton Park practicing their photojournalism skills. There's some damage over there that's really remarkable from our storms last week, and so they're getting some shots of that and also learning from us about how to gather information and to confirm information. So heading out to a farm in Coles County tomorrow, courtesy of the Coles County Farm Bureau. They've hooked us up with that. And then heading down to Toledo on Wednesday to get the experience of going out and looking for stories in a community. And I know that they're going to find some good stuff down there on Wednesday.
Very good. Speaking of Morton Park, by chance, the Red, White, and Blue Days, that's where they have that event next week. Have you heard anything about that?
I have not personally.
So hopefully, there are guests next Monday as well on Issues and Attitudes, so we were hoping that everything's good.
Lots of, you'll be finding out. But definitely a lot of work underway still today. In fact, we got some notification I saw from the city of some of that heavy equipment moving through and starting to clear out the boulevards. So be on the watch for that, because that's going to be a big task for a while.
Yeah, and they're going to do some rolling closed streets, so be careful as you look around, as you drive around Charleston. Don't get mad, just go a couple extra blocks. It'll be okay. Now, Brayden, you walked in today, didn't know you were going to be on the radio, right?
Yeah, right.
But Brayden, you're kind of a unique student at Charleston High School for the last, 4 years?
Yeah, 4 years.
4 years. You've hosted a show it's named School Talk. Talk about your idea and what School Talk means to you.
What my main basis was, so I'll go ahead and start here. When I was in, 6th grade, what I was looking at is WEIU already did the R stories, so I wanted to kind of add on to that and give a kids aspect to it, because, kids have stories too. I want them to be able to share that, and especially in our district. We're a unique district where we have a lot more things going on. We have a lot of athletics. We have a lot of big things going. I want to get that publicized and out in the community from kids' points of views. So that led into doing it at 6th grade at Jefferson Elementary School here in Charleston, and then doing it again at middle school for 2 seasons. Last season was season 4. We did it at Charleston High School, as you know, and again, we're trying to do a season 5 possibly.
I was going to say, we plan on doing a season 5 in the 2027 semester.
Yeah. And what it means to me is I think it's really important for the kids to be able to share their stories, get out there, especially the ones that are more involved with things, because it's not – sometimes they can go unnoticed. That's what it means to me. It's not about me hosting the show. What it's more about is me giving them opportunity to share their story, share what they value, and give them that publicity. Publicity they might not get any time.
Is there something that really stands out in the first 4 years that you just say, wow, like a wow factor moment that you had no idea that this was happening, or something about the students you interview?
Not necessarily about the students I interview. I think it's just more about the show in general. Just the fact that this is a new concept. I'm a kid hosting a show that's like almost an unheard of concept, and I think it's just a wow thing. But we've had 4 successful seasons over the last, 4 years, going on to another season here. I think it's just a wow thing that we've been able to keep this going.
There you go. Now, Joe, you love storytellers, and you kind of become one of our storytellers here at Eastern with some of the stuff that you say. That's why where you get the nickname, Country Joe Astrouski. When you hear like Brayden talking about a kid doing stories like that, you have advice maybe for him?
Well, I would say, first of all, asking questions and having a conversation is just critically important. One of the things that we talked to about these students that are at our camp this week is how to interview, and that's fundamentally, how do you have a conversation as opposed to interrogating somebody? right? Because you can make up a list of questions and read them off of a notepad. That's not terribly revealing. It's not terribly enjoyable for anybody involved, right? And so one of the things that we really spend a lot of time this week on with our high school students is, first of all, listening.
Yeah.
There are many interviewers that just don't listen, that they ask a question and immediately are thinking of the next question. And it's really key that you are tuned in, listening and clearly listening, because that leads your interviewee to open up. You know this. But also it opens you to the opportunity for follow-up questions. And, many of our high schoolers would rather converse through text. You know what I mean? And so even calling on the phone, there's nuance in the tone of voice that carries through. There's openness. There's a chance for spontaneity and for follow-up that we really encourage. So, that's just fundamental. When you have conversations where somebody feels like they're heard, that's when you reveal and you explore. And if you can allow an audience to learn something they didn't know before, that is what builds an audience. If they feel like they are a party to a real conversation where people are really opening up and really being heard, that draws an audience, and it creates a better product for you. So and one of the things that I would say is that if you are a student like Brayden, who's interested in media in any way, even if you're going to a school that doesn't have a newspaper in this day and age, and many of our schools no longer do, or doesn't have a radio station, you have a device probably in your pocket with which you can do journalism and media. You can go take pictures. You can record interviews with people and post them online. You can edit little videos on your phone. All those things you can start doing now. You don't need permission from anybody to go do those. That's fundamental to our country, right? Is that you can communicate freely on your own. And now more than ever, most teenagers have the tools to try doing this stuff and to try taking pictures and recording video and doing interviews and writing. If they have social media, they have the means to distribute it. They could post to YouTube. Right? So that's all out there. And the key to doing it well is just to do it. And the doing it well will come with experience. That's the advice I would say, is not just to you, but to any student that is thinking about trying to do something like you're doing in another district or in another community. You don't need our permission or anybody else's. You can get on it and give it a try.
There you go. Now, Brayden, what about your process? When you're going to interview, doesn't matter who, but do you sit down and think about what I should ask him, or do you have a stock set of questions you always ask? What's the process for you preparing for an interview?
So yeah, we have a set of questions prepared. What I'm going to do is I'm going to initially start out with maybe those first 5 questions. I'm going to end up probably veering away from them, and it's just what I've realized over the past few years here is the conversations we've had. As I progress with hosting the show, I get better at doing it. I get better at making kids less nervous. The thing about doing this with kids is they're going to be more nervous than adults. So if I can help them to overcome that a little bit, I will. So I'll veer into more things of their personality rather than stick to basic show things, keep doing that. I want to veer into what they want to do because they'll make them more comfortable.
That makes sense. Now, Joe, this obviously it's been a very trying week here in Charleston with the tornado, and thank the Lord that nobody was hurt seriously, it appears, and no deaths, which was remarkable when you think about 3 or 4 tornadoes that were in Central Illinois, or what used to be called our viewing area, but now kind of our just area of service. The one thing that I am so proud about is, and not just WEIU, but the local media, stepped up, and Lane Blickham had a great post from Cromwell and Mattoon that without local media, who knows what could have happened this week? He put a great thing in there. Sirius XM didn't give us updates, and Audacity and all the other places that kids get their, or students or young people or even adults get their information doesn't update like local media. This is the events of that really show the promise and the real reason that we need local media to serve these communities.
If you just think fundamentally about these broadcast meteorologists, this is not a new thing, right? Like delivering weather information on television. However, we have seen posts from people that said, I got into my basement because I saw something on TV from, name your local weather person. I saw a video of this storm from somebody that was out taking it, and I said, this is serious, and I've got to get somewhere safe. And we avoided injury or, God forbid, death because we had that local coverage. An app doesn't do that. And, you know, the really compelling broadcast meteorologists are able to say in very clear, concise, not hysterical ways, here is where the danger is, here's what you need to do, and you need to do it now. Jesse Gwynn, who you may recall was a student of ours, worked for many years in Peoria. When we had those storms that first hit in Taylorville and then moved up into the Peoria area, he was on the air for 3 hours. And after the fact, one of his superiors said, you have to understand you are potentially saving lives because you are relaying information immediately in a way that an app can't, in a way that a little news ticker on the phone can't. And that's really key. And then not just during the storm, but after, there's really key information about where can I get a meal? What do I need to be on the lookout when I've got 50 people a day calling me to want to check out my roof? Right?
Yeah.
There's information is so much power in a situation like this. Or if I'm not affected but I want to help, how do I do that? Local, reliable people gathering that information and presenting it are so important. Yep. And AI, can I say, can't do that. You need human beings to do that, to gather the information, to know what needs to be relayed and to do it.
Yeah, and I think also this stuff that comes out of it in here in Charleston are the neat stories. You know, that we found a lost dog, or we finally got to our grandma who was, her street was blocked off, or all the interesting story. Brian Halsey's football team, Eastern Illinois' football team, out in the community moving trees out of roads so people could, to get the stuff, and all of the people that, gave water and gave food and meals and all that stuff. The stories that are behind the story sometimes really are great journalism efforts by, local media. And again, AI and SiriusXM aren't going to do that.
Well, no. And I'll tell you, I think the most beautiful sound are the chainsaws. If you drive around town the past few days with your windows down and you hear those chainsaws, I mean, some of those are certainly, and thank God for them, professionals who are removing these down trees that are across power lines in homes that an ordinary person can't do that. But then a lot of those saws are church groups and men's clubs and neighbors and friends and cousins that are just sort of coming out of the woodwork to get it done. And, as awful as the damage was and the risk was and the lives that are upended, that's the one little glimmer of light in all this is that community response. The mayor, Mayor Combs, talked about this yesterday in his little video message, right? And as you're watching that video message, it's minute after minute of listing off as many as he could fit in there of people and institutions and groups that have done something to help this recovery. And as he said, it's a long road. I mean, this is not a sprint, and it takes that kind of dedication and care to get there.
Yep. And speaking of that, our producer, Rameen Karbassioon, has been in touch with Brandon today, and they're going to do an interview here in the next day or so that we'll put on our WEIU.net and YouTube pages as well. Now, Brayden, when you start thinking about the spring of 27, which is hard to amazing, spring of 27, have you started thinking about some people on the Charleston High School campus that you want to talk to or interview, or you start and again the process of how do you get it down to 5 or 6 students that you interview?
Yeah, I've started thinking about it. I really don't think about it until school actually starts because I want to know what sports are involved in, what they're doing, because that helps. That helps get the conversation started, like I said earlier. As far as it goes with selecting the students, I think my thing with it is probably just what they have, like I said, but it's narrowing it down. Like, I have these 20 or so ever students. They want to actually do it. But it's the fact who will be the best and who really wants to do it more than anyone else does.
Do you think one of your questions will be, hey, what were you doing during the tornado of 26?
Probably, yeah. This is the first time in a long time that Charleston was impacted, I would say yeah.
Okay. If you're tuning into Issues and Attitudes today, we were talking to Joe Astrouski, who had to take off for the journalism camp. We also have Brayden Armstrong in here, the host of WEIU School Talk. Both of them just happened to be in here today because my original guest must be doing some work out at the Coles County Dragway, Mike Irwin. And, one of the things I wanted to ask Mike was about, we had him scheduled before the storm, and, why he decided as a businessman to go into this new venture. But I really wanted to talk to him a little bit about the fact that, that they actually stayed open and actually ran Saturday and got the track cleaned up. And I know they had some great gifts and things like that. So now entering the room is Rameen Karbassioon.
Hey, we're all chipping in to help out here. Impromptu live radio and TV, right?
There you go.
Or
Yeah,
media, video.
There you go. Which is fun. It's a unique. Now, Rameen, you had you the news hound of all, actually were on your way to New York when the tornado hit on Wednesday. So talk about what you were going through, and then how was New York?
Well, glad to be back. You don't plan on going on family trips and a tornado is going to hit on this random day, but I had a pre-planned trip with my wife and daughter, who's a Charleston High School graduate, and we're going to head to New York City because that's where she wanted to go. She wanted to see Broadway. We saw 2 shows, but it was a very strange trip getting over there because we were aware of what might be happening. We basically got ahead of the storm by an hour. It was basically chasing us into Indiana. Obviously, we were away from it. We had a couple of kiddos locally here. They were in some unique situations, but they were safe. Our home was fine, and we made it to New York in a day plus. New York City is New York City, Jeff. It is. I've been there 3 times now, and still big. Pizza's still good. A lot of people. Seeing 2 Broadway shows in one day is certainly a bucket list item of my daughter's, but I got to live through it.
Did you nap?
Did I get a nap?
Did you nap through the shows?
No, I did not.
Okay.
Seats are very tight. For a big person like me, it's a little bit uncomfortable, but Broadway is all that it's cracked up to be. Big shows, big prices, big audience, and just, it lives up to the billing.
We kind of teased over there that you will be eventually this week talking to Charleston Mayor Brandon Combs.
That is the hope.
What is your goal to try to get some information / stories out of Brandon?
I have, as Joe Astrouski just mentioned, Brandon did post a video via social media here. It looks like in the last day or 2. And from afar, I was able to keep tabs of the posts that you were sharing, the pictures, the video. So I am educated on what has happened. As a native of Charleston, first of all, breaks my heart to see this because I actually emailed Cameron Craig this morning, our emeritus meteorologist. When's the last time did Charleston actually get hit by a tornado? Because if you follow the weather, Charleston always it misses. It either goes north of it
around
or south of it. But for Brandon's interview, I told him, look, I've interviewed him on City Spotlight more times than I can count. I just want a simple 5 to 10 minute interview, get your overall thoughts. What was your initial thoughts of it happening? Seeing the destruction, the recovery efforts. I know he listed in that video countless people. This is going to be a smaller version because I know his time is precious right now. He's trying to lead a city, recovery efforts, and just get his pulse a week after the storm.
There you go. Now, Raina, I'm going to put you on the spot here a little bit. If you were with Rameen on this interview later this week, do you have a question for you'd love to ask Dr. Brandon Combs?
What was your process of declaring an emergency for the town of Charleston? What made you want to declare the emergency and go?
That is on the list of questions because
I think it's one of the few times I've ever heard a mayor do that immediately. Usually, it's after the governor does it or something, but Brandon got right on it.
This is not my first time asking someone a question like that because if people remember in the spring of 25, Neoga was hit by a tornado. And it hit their school district there, which is located just there to the west of Interstate 57. Kevin Harmon is their superintendent, does an outstanding job. I reached out to him. Again, I was out of town the weekend it happened, just my bad luck. But nonetheless, a week later, on the school grounds, I asked him that question. Talk about the process. Give us folks at home the behind the scenes of what is the process of figuring out how do you tackle this? What groups, what organizations, who do you reach out to? Because if you look at it, The city of Charleston can only take care of so many of these problems because the DMV was impacted. That's the state of Illinois. You have Charleston Middle School's gym. That's a Charleston CUSD 1 problem. Walmart is impacted. That's a business that gets used by everyone. So places that are used widely by City of Charleston residents, how do those go about being fixed?
There you go.
Yeah.
Now, Rameen, you also help produce and direct the school talk every year with Brayden. Talk about maybe Brayden's progression from that 6th grade year to now that you'll be a sophomore in high school.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing.
Great.
So can you talk about the progression?
It has been a program that wish we had started sooner, but glad you did, Brayden. It's been a great addition to the lineup of programs that WEIU has produced. And the answer is, Jeff, he's grown. The show has grown. I mean, for someone that has grown up with parents that worked here, he was exposed to all of these things. And so his idea that he has now told many, many people about, why not make a program for kids? It's a genius idea. Nobody is doing a program like this.
How long will you think it'll still be a kid, though? At some point, you're a young man instead of a kid, right?
Well, yeah, very soon.
There you go.
The answer is it's grown so much. And to see these kids just, I don't say open up, bare their souls, but they're telling you like insights of going to school. I mean, it is exactly what the show is titled, School Talk. The last 2 years have been very insightful because those middle school years are very, very interesting. And I now have a 7th grader that's going into Charleston Middle School. The freshman year, I think, is the creme de la creme because what we've had here is these people have grown up from 6th graders through 9th graders. You have highlighted 20-plus individuals from your class. And I will say this, Jeff, having been exposed for my daughter just now graduating high school, I see these kids everywhere. He has interviewed the who's who of, this would be Charleston High School class of what?
29.
29.
Holy cow.
So he has interviewed a who's who, and it's been a joy to work on. And alongside his mom, one of our own, Brayden Armstrong.
There you go. Who needs to work on our logo? She knows what that's about. I'm in trouble now.
She's still a part of us.
Serious question, Brayden. You've heard it in the last couple of weeks, news coming out of Charleston High School that there's not enough football players maybe to field a whole varsity or maybe a varsity and a JV team. Have you, any other stuff coming out that you've heard? And why would you encourage kids to play for Coach Halsey? Because you saw what he did for this community this week. Hopefully some students will step up and want to play.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and start here with talking about it. I've heard, I'm in marching band as well, the Charleston High School marching band. And
What affects you then if there's no football?
Yeah, it affects me. And what we've heard from Mr. John Wingerski is that currently we're still going to have football. We haven't barely just enough people to have football where we can have marching band at night. So we'll be fine. I don't think anything will be too bad, majorly affected. For right now, I know we have football. And as far as it goes to encourage people to play, I would, because what they did this week, what Brian Halsey did with the Tornadoes this week, and what the cleanup efforts, everything that he's done has been so good, and I think that's what this community needs more of. And I think if we can get people in there to play, it'll be a really special environment.
Yeah, and you only get one chance to play high school football,
Yeah.
and to play high school sports of anything. So if you don't play, you're going to miss out. So you might as well enjoy some of those 4 years whether it's being in the band, a cheerleader, baseball, basketball, football, wrestling, or whatever you want to do. You might as well do it. A few minutes left here today. We're just kind of, again, getting by with kind of a crazy show. Thanks for Joe Astrouski coming by. Thanks for Brayden Armstrong, who you wanted to be on jokingly before. And I said, well, if Mike doesn't show up, you will be. And Rameen has stepped in. Anything from your point of view, Rameen? Rameen's road trips. Talk about some of the places you've been.
Man.
A new show that's coming this fall.
Taped 6 segments, ecstatic to put them together in the Edit Bay. And we will start rolling these off in early August. Time permitting, Edit Bay working, and all those good things. We've been to some great places. The last few have had this theme that kind of just popped out of nowhere, taking to the air. Went down to Metropolis, Illinois for the Superman celebration, as colorful as some of the fine folks that I saw in New York City this past week. The Crawford County Airport, what a great, great program that's going to be. Vicki May, who we interviewed on the Crawford County Our Story program, they were impacted by a tornado 3 years ago, and they had to rebuild. And they built themselves, they didn't want to, but they had to build themselves a new airport. And they gave me an impromptu tour of the facility in one of those ATVs. Fantastic, fantastic interview. So Paint a History Museum, that gentleman poured his soul out. 50-minute taping. That's going to be a doozy. He gave me one of those impromptu, like Chris Surdick in the local history center. I just had a spur of the moment. Hey, would you like to give a walking tour of the museum after the interview? Sure. So similar feel of Heartland Highway, City Spotlight, This Is Our Story, Take a Hike, all those great programs that people love going to places. That was the whole idea of this. It's just continue that taking you somewhere vibe.
There you go. All right, rapid fire questions. Brayden first, then Rameen. Favorite all-time movie?
My mom's not going to like this, but I'm going to say Forrest Gump.
A movie that I just can't stop watching is just coming to my head. I'll just go The Fugitive.
Music act. Band, singer, concert, I don't care.
Talking Heads.
That band right there on that poster. I'm a Queen guy.
Favorite movie star, or female or male, doesn't matter. Somebody you love to see.
I don't watch enough movies, no.
Tom Hanks.
Oh, yeah, that's,
yeah.
that's a good one.
Yeah, Tom Hanks.
Favorite pizza topping?
Black olives.
Rameen?
One that I've come to love more in the recent years, mushrooms.
A lot of people are trying to say that they got to see all 50 states. Brayden, any idea how many states you've been to so far?
27 counting.
Rameen?
I haven't thought of the exact number, but it's around 40.
That's a good one. All right. Do you have a pet?
Pet goldfish.
What's his name?
Bubbles.
Rameen?
29.
Little short-haired dog who's an absolute savage, Dexter, and I did not name him.
There you go. Anything that any summer vacation plans for you, Mr. Armstrong?
And next week I'm going to Pittsburgh and Washington, D.C.
Pittsburgh's home of the Steelers. You know that?
Yeah, I know that.
I passed the road that went there.
Yeah,
Rameen, vacation plans this summer?
The family and plus two, mother-in-law and boyfriend of Emma, will be headed down to Myrtle Beach.
There you go.
Our every other year excursion to Myrtle Beach.
All right. Favorite local attraction that you just love to go to, like Burger King in Mattoon, Pinky's in Effingham, or anywhere? Is there any place you just is your go-to place when you want to get out and do something?
Not when I want to get out and do something, but I want to give a shout out here to Two-Story Outhouse.
There you go.
Yeah.
Their festival will be coming up.
First Rameen's Road Trips will be that episode.
Rameen, what about you?
Popped in my head because I'm a food guy. My wife and I love going to Siam Thai.
There you go. Favorite teacher so far that you've had? Any teacher?
Favorite teacher, probably this year is Mr. Hudson. He was my math teacher. He really taught me a lot more than I've learned.
There you go. Rameen, favorite teacher or professor?
5th grade, lived behind me over there in the Ironwood, Stoner Drive area, Mr. Montgomery, 5th grade teacher.
Your dad was a teacher, right?
Well, my dad is also, yeah,
I just want to make sure we quoted that you did not pick your dad.
a teacher that I had.
Oh, you never had him for any teaching or any classes?
I took a few econ classes, but no, I'd never had my dad as
okay, so
yes.
you
My
just
dad was
you
a
seem to wiggle out of that one, Brayden.
My dad was a 28-year professor at EIU.
All right, well, thank you for coming in, Rameen.
Yes.
Brayden, thanks for coming in. I'm glad you had a good time.
Yeah.
Thanks to Country Joe Astrouski for stopping by. A crazy show. We hope you enjoyed it out there. And everybody, we are
WEIU.